Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this little ASMR session. So, I was inspired by Prim ASMR to make this video because I watched her rock collection video a couple weeks ago, and I really love videos of people explaining their collections of things and kind of rambling, but also going into detail about explaining the objects and the patterns and the colors and everything. I just find it very captivating to watch. And basically, I think about a week ago, my fiance, I was at his house and he brought out this bag of rocks and he said, "This is my little rock collection that I've kind of kept going for a little bit, but I don't really need it, so do you want it?" And immediately I thought it'd be really fun to do kind of like a rock collection video, although it's not my own, but I can still go into depth about explaining, the details of each rock and whatnot. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, this is the little pouch of rocks. You can see one peeking out. This is like a little, I guess, kind of red suede bag. I don't know my materials too well, so don't mind that this nail is really nubby compared to these ones. This one broke and I didn't have the heart to cut the other ones down. So I'm just trying to wait it out for it to catch up. These ones I have to keep short because I play guitar and violin and I'm right-handed, so this is the hand that goes on the fretboard. Anyways, so it's this little pouch that is about the size of my palm. It's very soft, very flexible. There are about, I think, 15 rocks in here, give or take. Definitely over 10, I think it might be 16. I'm being quite brave to film this during the daytime because I can hear airplanes and lawnmowers going outside. But we shall see how it goes. I also have this little eye makeup brush that I thought we could do some tracing on the details of the rocks, and just, I quite like watching people brush objects. I think there's just something relaxing about it. So, take the rocks out gently without being too loud, because I definitely am a loud person. If you couldn't tell, I just burped and I was trying really hard not to make it very obvious, but so we have lots of different little rocks here. We have a few larger ones in here. Put that up. Lots of blues and greens and whatnot. We have another couple, and put this one here. And we have this one. So put the pouch just off to the side until we're ready to use it again. We'll just close that back up. Looks like a little mouth. So we'll put that kind of off to the side. So there's a little hair. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 rocks. 18 little rocks. So we're going to go through all of them and just explain the details and colors of all of them. Probably zoom you in a little bit so you can see them a little bit better, since a lot of them are very small and dainty. So we'll get started with that. So this first little rock here, it's very metallic looking. It's very shiny. You can see it catches the light in all the different directions, and it's got this very green gold color to it. Right? Reminds me of dragon, both between the scales and also what the treasure the dragon would be guarding looks like. Very sparkly and shiny. And if you couldn't tell, it's a very rough kind of texture. You can hear my nails scraping it. It's got lots of jagged edges, and I don't think there's one smooth side to it at all. It almost looks, in certain areas, like it's starting to build other little stones. It's very, very pretty. And I don't know my names of stones, so I don't know what any of these are going to be called, other than they're pretty. But this one is very interesting. And it's about size of, one little, I don't know what these would be called, one little unit of my knuckle. And so it's very tiny, very, very tiny. But it would still be too big for a ring. I think it'd be funny to see someone use this as a ring. But it's just very interesting. And yeah, there's no uniform shape to it. Just every way you move it, it's a different level and different jagged edges, so it's not symmetrical in the slightest, if you can kind of see. I'm doing a bad job at showing you, but it's very pretty nonetheless. So the next one, let me smooth out the blanket here. Very soft blanket. Got it in the winter FabFitFun box. Let's do, for the next rock, let's do this one, because this is probably my favorite. Again, this just kind of reminds me of a dragon because of the kind of greeny blue color, and it's very sparkly in this section. Then it fades to this beautiful light blue. So it starts off at the very tip. You won't be able to really see it, but right here it's very almost translucent, but definitely more, or almost transparent, but slightly translucent. And it fades in this very shimmery kind of lime green, I guess, and then again fades into this beautiful baby pastel blue. All throughout it we have little flecks of shimmer and glitter, and it's kind of almost like a tooth shape, where it starts off with this more pointed end and rounds at the bottom, kind of has another little edge here, and it's very smooth on this side, very, very smooth. But then if we turn it to this little part, it is a little jagged, but it's still smooth. You can see there's a bit of a texture there. Now this part, if you can see that, has a bit more of a rougher texture, similar to this one, where if I scrape it with my nail, you can hear that there's a bit of kind of unevenness. And but it's very pretty, very, very pretty. Like I said, it reminds me of a dragon. It could be a dragon tooth. But I love green and blues, and I love sparkles, so immediately when I saw this, I knew that it was probably going to be my favorite. Now if we turn it to this side, I don't know if you can see that, but it almost has like these little blue, dark blue veins, and I know they're probably just internal cracks, but I like to think of them as veins because I don't know my rock vocabulary. Just little blue cracks and veins and everything throughout it. It's very, very pretty. So we'll put this one again off to the side. So for our next one, let's do this one to stick with the very blue, pretty color theme. So this is another very smooth rock. Unlike the other two rocks, there's no jagged edges. It's all very smooth to the touch, and even though there's a bit of unevenness as far as the levels on this rock, they're all smooth, so it's very nice to hold. But you can see here we have a little bit of white and blue mixed at the tip. Almost looks like marbling, like an art marble design. And then here we have this very translucent gray blue. You can kind of see through to it the other side. That's why I said translucent. And if we move over here, again it kind of shifts from the dark blue to some light blue, and if you can see it, there's a little bit of white in here, a little tiny bit of white, but it's kind of this striped pattern. It's very smooth, and if we flip it over, kind of mainly just that dark blue again, and it's translucent, and we have some of those veins or cracks. If you collect rocks or you know quite a bit about rocks, let me know in the comments, and let me know if any of these have specific names. I remember in school learning about, what was it, igneous rocks and sedimentary, and the other one started with an M, I think. But, and it was interesting, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. I've always been like a chemistry kind of girl. But, yeah, this one's very, very pretty, has a unique design. So, move these guys over a little bit, just to give some more room. And, let's move to the next one. Which one should we choose? I think we'll go with a different color since those ones are blue. So I'll pick these two just because they're very similar. They're probably the same type of rock, I'm guessing. So these ones are a variation of pink and a little bit of gray, tiny bit of black, and some, variations of hot pink and more of a light baby pink. So this one, the bigger one, the black lines are more spaced out, and there's more room for, you can see all the little pink spots. If you flip it over, there's a little bit of that crowding right here, but there's more pink on this side. And it's very pretty. You can see that the lines are not smooth or jagged. The rock itself is quite smooth. There's a little bit of roughness right here, but not much. It's very smooth. And this one, the lines are a lot more condensed. You can see there's less space between all the gray and black lines for the pink. If we turn it over, there's a little bit more pink on this side. It's a lighter pink. This one has more darker pinks in it. This one almost has more of a purple tone to it, but you can tell it's less room for the pink, more crowding. But these are both very small. These are the smallest ones of these three that I've shown. This one is not necessarily half the size, but probably close to it. So move these off to the side. Okay, so next, to kind of stick with the similar theme, this is a very similar kind of pattern to this one, but it is yellow and gray and black, and from a distance the mix of the yellow and the gray almost gives it this very greeny look to it right here. But it's very similar where it's these black lines going throughout it and variations of kind of a mustard yellow and a pastel canary yellow throughout it. If we flip it on the other side, it's a very similar thing, just different patterns. We have this one space where it's just a lot of yellow. I quite like yellow. I just like it to be a very canary bright sun yellow. I don't like mustard yellow. But yellow is such a happy color that I don't know how anyone could not like it. So this one is also somewhat smooth. Some sides are smooth, but there's a few different indents. Right here we have an indent, if you can see that. And there's also this little crevice right here. If you can see that little line right here. There's a little bit of texture right there. That one is very similar to the pink ones. Okay, sticking with the yellow, this is the last yellow one. There's only two yellow ones. Now this one is very plain and basic, very shiny, as most rocks are. It has this one little line, kind of some brown spots on it, and then it has like a little darker yellow gray line going throughout it. But as you can see, it's very smooth. Little indent right here, and a bit of texture right at the top there. But otherwise, it's very, very smooth. You can see there's not really any harsh lines. And I don't know how it's translating on camera. In my monitor, it definitely looks more of like a greeny yellow, but this is very much a mustard yellow. Okay. Should have put this one with this one right here because it's pretty much like a little tiny version of it. But again, we have some of that kind of translucent gray blue where you can see a little bit throughout, and then some darker blue right here at the tip or at the edge. But it's very small. It looks like an overgrown bean. So we'll put this one with that. Flip it over so you can see the blue. There you go. Okay, so let's do this one. So again, this one's very similar to these ones. These 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But this one's green. And kind of has an odd shape to it. Again, almost looks like a tooth. But it's got some light green and some darker green. And then some gray lines going throughout it and dividing the colors up. It's just very small, very dainty. Turn it over and it's got the same thing, just a different pattern of the lines going throughout it and the colors in between. It's very pretty. I really like this color of green. It's very muted. It's almost a lime green, but it's got that touch of white in it that lightens it up a little bit more. But this one's very, very, very pretty. Okay, so let's finish up the blue ones. We have these two and one more left after that. So these ones are pretty much if you took this color on the blue, just smacks them over two rocks. So they're very dark, beautiful, I'd say cobalt, royal blue, which is my favorite color. But if you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, you can see the little lines there. I think you can see it that way. Little veins, little lines throughout it. These both have a very smooth texture. There's no jaggedness, no roughness. And this one has a very flat side right here. But it's very rounded on this side. Very, very rounded, very rounded. And this one has a little bit more volume to it, but it's also wider and longer. But it's not symmetrical, so it's all different lengths on each side. But they're very pretty, very, very, very pretty. So the last blue one that we have is this, which is a very different blue from these ones. This is more of an ocean, sky, light blue. There's more white in this one to make it a lighter blue. Whereas this one almost has a hint of purple in it to make it a bit darker. But this one is very flat, and if you can see, it almost comes to a point right there. So this side is very thin. It almost looks like a molar. It's very flat on both sides. And a little bit of jaggedness at the edges here. But you can see a bit of that marbling in this one too, where it's got those lines throughout it of a bit of a darker blue, a little bit of white, tiny bit of gray over here. It's just a very cool looking rock. It's very, very pretty. I really like this color. I definitely like this blue color a little bit more, but this is very pretty. Okay, so we have 6 more rocks. So we'll kind of breeze through these ones a little bit more because I spent some more time on the first few. This one I think probably has the most intricate detail on it, and it's got the most variation because as we can see, it's got some of that line work on it, but it's also got these circles. You can especially see it on this one. These small little circles that kind of start off with a white rim and then it gets darker as it goes. But it's just variations of whites and beiges and browns. Very neutral colors. Very earth tone colors. It's got a bit of roughness right here. Not smooth here, but here's very smooth. Very smooth. And there's one little crevice right here, a little indent. And this side, again, a little bit of jaggedness, but very smooth. It's very small. Very, very small. It's an interesting rock. It looks like these are all little eyes. I like the colors in this one. I like browns on rocks. I think they're pretty. Move this to the side. There are lots of planes today. I've had to pause like 4 times for planes to go by. So this one is the only orange colored one that we have. This like peachy orange kind of burnt color. We've got some spots like right here that's very translucent, so you can kind of see through to the other side, or if you move it around. But then we've also got some parts like right here that we have a little bit of white, but then we also have some dark brown. Almost looks like a really dark orange, but I think it's brown. Have a little hole and crevice right here. It's a little rough. but it's pretty uniform most throughout it. There's again some little lines throughout it, but it's very small. Very, very small. It would be cute as a ring. If it was a little smaller, it would be cute as a ring. But it's very petite and cute. It's almost completely round. More of an oval shape, but yeah. Okay, so we also have, we'll do these two because they are a little similar, a bit different. So this one is almost completely dark brown, but we've got some, you can see it more on this side, but we've got some kind of white and light brown and gray colors moving throughout this one little stripe on the rock, but the rest of it is pretty much just this really dark brown. It's very smooth, but there are many sides to it, so it's not round, it's not smooth in that aspect, but the sides itself are very smooth to the touch. And this one has more of a light brown. There's actually some green on this side, and it varies through with some brown and some orange, and we've got some line work here. But again, like the other one, it's got smooth sides, but itself is not round that way, so it's got many different angles to it. So our second last one is just kind of a normal rock. I was debating about putting this in here, but I think sometimes having just a cute little normal rock. This one is white and gray, and has almost like little spots right here, if you can see that, little spots. But it's primarily just white and gray and has kind of a circular shape to it. It's very flat on this side. Very, very, very flat. And our last rock is my favorite. Well, probably one of my favorites. Just because it's so sparkly. It looks more like a kind of crystal encased in a rock. But I'll move these guys over a bit. But this, and I don't know if you'll be able to see because I have a light up here, right above the camera, so it's going to be kind of hard to see. But it's got all these specks of sparkle and glitter, and I mean, I'm sure it's not actual glitter because it's a rock, but it's very sparkly, and a lot of it is very translucent. It doesn't have any other colors besides white in here. It's very misty looking, which I really like. It's just very elegant. Something like this, I think if it was really small, would be pretty as a piece of jewelry. I like making jewelry out of things like rocks and beach glass and whatnot. I have my little metal wires that I use to do that. So I might see if I can do more of like a statement necklace with this. But it's very pretty. Very, very pretty. There's definitely some little indents like right here. But it is overall very smooth to the touch. It's very, 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 very pretty. So that completes it for all the little rocks in the bag. I'm sure I'll start collecting my own to add to the collection and eventually maybe do another video in a different angle just to switch it up. But yeah, like I said, this was very much inspired by Prim's video because I thought that was just really nice to watch. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and maybe you'll start collecting rocks, or tell me if you do collect rocks, which is your favorite. But I'll leave it to that, and I will see you guys in the next video.